Welcome back to another fantastic podcast series with the Overseas School of Colombo, and this is for International Teachers Day. As you can see, we are coming to you from the Overseas School of Colombo, baking in hot sun in the afternoon, but then again, we'd rather actually take this weather than making sure that we don't get wet with the torrential rains that Colombo has actually experienced in the last couple of days or so. So what we do on the series is we get together and try and bring back all the alumni of school who've actually graduated at different times of the year. And one of the oldest graduates that we actually have had on the show was from 1988. And then that one of the newest graduates that we've actually had on the show is from 2015. Now we've got some graduates also on the show, and along with that, we also bring in some teachers who've actually rendered their service to the Overseas School of Colombo, or when we started, was actually called the Overseas Children's School, for many years. And one such teacher is Mrs. Gamage, who's actually here with us. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you for having me, Shah.
Thank you so much. And of course, we got Julian Reuter, who's also here. Julian, which year were you?
2006 graduation, but I've been at Overseas School. I was at Overseas since pre-KG.
Wow, right? And then we also have Yannika Amarasekara, who's also basically with us. Which year did you graduate?
In 2013.
2013. So
Yes. Pretty new.
Pretty new as a matter of fact. Well, we're talking about stuff that basically changed us over the course of our time at the Overseas School of Colombo. Mrs. Gamage, let me start with you. Firstly, happy International Teachers Day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of the show. That's exactly what we are doing this. Let's take you back to your first day at Overseas School of Colombo. Do you remember your first day?
Yes, very much so. 1997, I walked through those doors. I first came with a group of Maldivian teacher assistants. So I was a teacher assistant back then first. And when I walked into this classroom, I saw this teacher, Mrs. Nirmali Pereira, and she was wearing boots. She had boots on. So I thought, okay, this is the class I want to be working in.
Right.
So that just set the tone for the rest of my years. So that's, I remember that very well. And
How was your experience, though, the first day in school?
oh,
Was it a culture shock for you from where you were
Yes.
coming? Is this what you expected?
yes, I was brand new to the curriculum, to the way the school was structured, and the students, the nationalities, the diversity of the kids, and the parent community. So I was quite nervous because do I tell my age?
No.
I was very young.
Right.
And then after 1997, in 2000 was my breakthrough. I became a teacher officially in 2000. That's when, and in preschool, where it was Paul Berkeley who made me a teacher. And I still owe it to him because he saw something in me, and I'm still here for that reason. Yeah.
Julian, obviously you've been here from the early years, formative years, from KG all the way till the time that you graduated on with IB. Made so many friends along the way. But what's the one thing that actually sticks as when someone says OSC to you?
In terms of being a student at the school, so maybe I can segue into that very quickly to say that my child now as well goes to Overseas
That's
School.
right.
So he's now in 3rd grade. But as a student, and of course, as a parent, the community is unbelievable, and I'm so happy that my child gets to go here. But as a child, as a student coming here, the chance of doing sort of anything you wanted to do, like if you wanted to do drama, you do drama. You wanted to learn an instrument, someone is there to teach you. You want to play basketball, football, cricket, anything really. Of course, education-wise as well. If you were interested in any field, the doors were open, and the teachers were always open and willing to give that to you. So that always stuck with me for sure.
So talk about the segue, obviously now becoming a parent. How has it changed from you going to school to now dropping your son off at school?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm just happy that he gets to experience sort of what I got growing up, let's
Right.
say as a foreigner in Sri Lanka, number one, first and foremost, but to be able to give him what I felt it was so important to me, the school as well, and to be able for him sort of go through the same steps that I did is great for me as well. Like I'm
Obviously, going to get into the fact that why you stuck around in Sri Lanka for as long as you did. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But Yannika, now, for example, for you, coming into a school of this nature, being a Sri Lankan, coming into with so many different nationalities, how has that helped you to pick up from here to the real world?
I mean, I think it made the transition very easy. Being around not only the diversity in terms of the students, but the way the curriculum was formed, the way we were taught. When I went to the US, to Berkeley to do my undergrad, it was just such a seamless transition. And I think it helped. I mean, acclimatizing into the American system just made that so much easier.
Right.
Because in school, whether it was the teachers, the students, we were just accustomed to being with people from all different backgrounds, being very open-minded to how people think, how they speak, just being exposed to people from different walks of life. It made it so much easier.
Something that obviously everybody who touched on in the previous episodes is the fact that they all kept saying that OSC gave them the opportunity to think,
100%.
right? It's not like it's been taught to you and you have to learn it because I'm teaching you.
Yeah.
So it's a different ballgame. How was that experience for you?
You know, that was by far my favorite thing at Overseas. I remember when I was in grade 10. I don't know if I should even say this, but
Please, that's
you
the whole
can-
idea of this podcast.
you can do what you want with it. But we were in chemistry, and our teacher, his name was Mr. Snyder, love him. And we could just come up with any topic and kind of bring in ethics into it. That was sort of the assignment. So I came up with this whole presentation on how rapists should be chemically castrated.
Right.
So, bit of a taboo, controversial topic. I have many thoughts about that since. But, you know, I backed it up with my research, did the whole presentation, and I got a 7 on it.
Right.
And if I did that topic in any other school in Sri Lanka, I'm pretty sure I would be called to the principal's office. My parents would be called. You know, they'd be like, what are the sick things your daughter is thinking? Whereas at Overseas, any time you thought outside the box or ventured into a controversial topic, it was we just got so much positive reinforcement in terms of the feedback, in terms of the grades. So we were never afraid to think creatively, to think outside the box. It helped me so much in university. I never, you know, picked a thesis because it was easy. I always, you know, I felt confident in just selecting a topic I thought was interesting, no matter how challenging it was, because I think of what Overseas and the teachers and the curriculum kind of cultivate within you. And even now, the company I've started, it was very different to what was already in Sri Lanka, but that never even occurred to me twice. It didn't matter.
Right.
I was just like, this is what I want to do, and I did it. So OSC like really helped foster that from a young age.
Is that something that teachers actually are required to do? I mean, in terms of give them that open-mindedness when they do talk about certain subjects. Is that something that is sort of instilled in the faculty?
Yes, with the curriculum. That's
Right.
the beautiful nature of the IB,
Mhm.
the International Baccalaureate, that has 3 programs, which is the PYP, the MYP, and the diploma, where they teach dispositions. So to become critical thinkers, to have self-management skills, to have social skills, and communication skills, and research, as Yannika was saying. So these are dispositions that it's part of the curriculum, but we teach it in a very authentic and in a way that it connects with the student. So giving them that voice, choice, and ownership to take their learning from where they're at. So that's the beautiful, trying to say how it's intertwined into the
Right.
curriculum. And the fact that you see and they're prepared to take on the world, that's what's the IB, that's why IB stands out.
Yep. Yep.
It's the curriculum that drives them.
Yeah, I know there's some words that I mean I dread to listen to. You know, HL, SL is not something that I want to basically listen to. But obviously, these are things that we've all gone through with the IB. Also, Miss Gamage, in terms of how school has changed from the time that you started, we're not talking about structural change. I mean, for us, structural change is massive because obviously from when we left school to when we are coming back, things have changed a lot, which is obviously a good thing. But how has the generational shift in terms of kids that you teach changed year on year?
Um, I think it's the diversity that changes, and I think well, we did have a lot of Sri Lankan students before, and I think I think during the pandemic, certain things, because Sri Lanka went through a lot of issues and problems, so I think that played a huge role. We did have businesses coming to Sri Lanka, so that kind of that was kind of tough for OSC to get Sri Lankan students in. But I think who we are as a school hasn't changed.
Right.
I think we are true to who we are. So, and I think the curriculum is what has changed a lot as well. Kids have stayed the same.
Right.
Parents have stayed the same.
Right.
It's when they walk in through those doors, the curriculum that we are teaching right now, that's quite global and internationally minded. That's the change that is there. That's what these generations are going to have in the coming years. Things like social emotional. We look at the whole child instead of just the academic side. Universal design for learning, how children learn, UDL. These are new things that are coming in to the curriculum, because all curriculum decisions need to serve the purpose of all students. So that, and then you look at the why. That's our mission.
Right. Right. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, these are things, it's great to see how school is actually progressive in the way that it is right now. Julian, you've been, of course, with school for a very, very long time as a student, now as a parent. Could you think back to maybe a piece of advice that a teacher had given you at that point? You really didn't think too much of it, but it's still sort of in your head and possibly could have helped you in your corporate life.
I mean, definitely countless, countless times. Like really, what you get through the not only 11th, 12th grade, but what you get in first grade, second grade, just little lessons that you learn in class, how to deal with other children. Let's say things that maybe you don't like get taught at home. I mean, you do, but it's just reinforced here in a different way, and it's like being taught from a teacher or from students. And everyone on campus, you learn a little bit differently than you do at home. So, but to give like an exact sort of example of something that someone said to me, I mean, I can't really think of one right now, but...
Did you have a favorite teacher, Julian?
I would rather not say, but I'm sure they might be listening. No, I mean, favorite teacher... It's hard to say one favorite teacher, but definitely a lot of favorite teachers.
Right.
Like I think I got along pretty well with most teachers. There are some teachers that I might have given a bit of a hard time, which I don't think was my fault. But
it's never our fault. It's never our fault.
But sometimes you get off on the wrong foot, you know, with a few things.
Right.
But no, actually, I genuinely had a good relationship with most of the teachers.
What about you, Yannika? I mean, is there a point where you basically knew there was a teacher who got you among the others?
I mean, quite a few, but I think the two that stand out are Miss Snyder,
Right.
Miss Lenk.
Okay.
And I think Miss Lenk, she and I mean, we're still very much, and the secondary school counselor, Miss Noble,
Okay.
who I'm very much in touch with. She's on my Instagram and like DMs me all the time.
Right.
But I think Miss Lenk and Miss Noble especially really, and to be fair, I think with all the teachers, you really feel like they have your back, that they're almost your friend first and then your teacher second.
Right.
And I remember with Miss Lenk, for example, she was our English teacher. And I was meant to get the English prize, I think, my senior year. And I was just going through some personal things. And I think my grades for a month had kind of dropped a little bit. So she actually called me in and said, you're not meant to know this, but I nominated you for the English prize. You got it. But I noticed your work has kind of dropped. Like, what can I do? How can we get it back up? And I really appreciated that, just rather than being punished for, just my performance not being up to where it should, she really actually helped me and helped get me back on track. And that's not something you see very often. So
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to obviously start nominating these individual teachers. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, that's exactly the whole idea of International Teachers Day. Walking down these halls, walking down these corridors, every single corridor, every single hall over here has a story. Has a story for every single student that actually has come out. Did you have a spot with you and your friends anywhere in school?
it would change all the time,
All
right?
right.
Because when I first joined, we'd be right down this corridor.
Okay.
And we'd be like we were on the second floor in the next building because with each grade your lockers change.
Right.
By the time junior, and senior year came, we were by the bleachers.
Okay.
So it was constantly
It's all over
changing.
the place. Yeah, I mean, there was just only one spot that I had. Right behind me is the senior school office. That's where the principal was. That was my spot.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, what about you, Julian? I mean, your friends, did you have a spot?
Actually, this spot right here, these stairs right here.
Right.
We were a couple of years where it was always before school, as school starts, we would meet there and then we would disperse. Then, of course, as you said as well, 11th and 12th grade, you're more near the IT lab. And then a lot of time spent next to the gym.
Right.
But then eventually there were certain teachers that refused to teach us if we were sweaty when we would arrive at class.
Okay.
So we had to give up playing basketball at break and lunch at some point.
At some points, yeah. Well,
Unfortunately.
yeah. Was in terms of the memories that basically come up when you walk into school or when you bump into your friends, there are so many different stories that really come up. What's that one memory of school that you will never forget? It could be a quirky one. It could be a weird one. It could be one where you almost got suspended. It could be any one of those. What's that one memory?
I mean, well, there's a lot of memories. Like,
Right.
for example, when I first came to school, we used to have you can't see it now, but that's the primary playground is over there. And there used to be this ship. It used to be a big ship that you could climb up and then there was a few slides down. A memory I have, I once fell off that ship. So I remember that, but that was like in KG.
Right.
But then I remember things that would have happened in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, like people messing up their lines at a primary production, for example.
Right.
I remember one funny one during we did Pocahontas once in primary school. I think I was in 3rd grade maybe or 2nd grade. And every time someone said a line, the extra crew, which was like 5th graders, 6th graders or whatever, they had to just shout. And there was one time when the shouting was supposed to end, but someone still shouted all by themselves. And it was just this poor child in front of, hundreds of people in the audience just started shouting and everyone was looking at that kid. So yeah, you remember certain things for sure.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, as I said, memories, of course, one thing is they'll never fade away, especially as far as school is concerned. Mrs. Gamage, what about you in terms of, where was the point? I just want to ask you, there must have been a point in your life when you realized that something that you've achieved, right? And then you're like, okay, this is why I love teaching. What was that point?
This was my 3rd grade. Okay, in 3rd grade. There
Right.
was this one particular student. This was like 15 years ago.
Right.
He's graduated. So he had to repeat 3rd grade because he wasn't ready to move on to 4th grade. So I wasn't the teacher then. So they put him in my class. And the end of the year, and then he moved on to 4th, 5th, and in middle school. He started getting honor rolls,
Wow.
the Sri Lankan boy. And he wrote at his graduation, he wanted only one particular teacher, and that was me. And he said, you changed my life because you were like my mom. So then I know that's the difference I make in a student. If I can make that, then I've done my job.
That's
And
a
up
huge
to now, he
achievement.
still comes and sees me. Now he's in the US, he's
Right.
doing medicine. He still comes to see me and gives me a hug.
Oh,
Yep. And they all do. And what gets to us as teachers is the graduation, the grade 12. That I always cry.
maybe you're not the only one.
Oh, only teacher who cries. The
Right.
parents who cry.
Right.
So, because I've seen countless graduation ceremonies, and just to see them up there says we have done something, because they started in primary and they've ended up there and now they're ready.
Yeah. And now they're all sitting in different positions around the
Correct,
world in
around
their
the
different
world. And
companies. Some have started their own businesses, as a matter of
yes,
fact. Yannika, if you bumped into your favorite teacher, I'm not going to ask who your favorite teacher is. It's not fair. It's not fair because obviously all the teachers have actually, molded us
Yeah.
in different ways to who we are right now. But if you did bump into your favorite teacher, what's the first thing you would actually tell him or her?
Honestly, I actually met her about like 2 years ago. We catch up whenever she comes down to Sri Lanka.
Nice.
So, and I think, again, that's the beauty of overseas. The relationships between teachers and students are very different to kind of maybe local schools, where we really do stay in touch through social media, all of that. And honestly, we just had a really good gossip, like, and just caught up on everything, caught up on all the drama. It's almost like catching up with a friend, because that's kind of how, like, what that relationship evolves into.
That's a relationship that a teacher student, that obviously relationship that comes up in school, as a matter of fact, where you can actually pick up the phone and be comfortable in talking to the teacher and whatever it is. What about you, Julian? If you bumped into your favorite teacher, what would be the first thing that you would say to him or her?
I mean, I think similarly to yourself, I met one of my favorite teachers who was my old basketball coach, Mr. Kitch. Actually, he visited Sri Lanka, I think 3 years ago. Mr. Kitch,
yes,
Darwin Kitch.
yes, Derwin. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's an
him and
Indian.
his wife. Yeah, he's in India now. That's right. And we do catch up on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. So I mean, it is much easier now, and I think that's what sets the teachers apart here as well, is that even when you're small, even when you're in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, they don't just see you as a child. Like, they see you as the development that you're going to go through, and they know that if they treat you with the respect that they also demand, sure, but they treat you with the same respect. So it's easy to sort of form a bond with a teacher even past school, and because they don't look at you as a child anymore,
Right.
you sort of, not eye to eye maybe, but you sort of see each other in a different light after that point. So I mean, I do say thank you for everything that they've done. The teachers really do shape you. The difference of having a good teacher or a nice teacher or someone that you respect versus a teacher that you might not like, and how that affects your enthusiasm for a particular subject is night and day. Like, for example, I was never the best science student, let's say, but then one year I had a great biology teacher, Miss Mann, and after that I really enjoyed biology for some reason. Like, it
Right.
wasn't just like sitting there looking at hieroglyphs. Like, I
Right.
actually sort of could start reading it, let's say. So I would just say thank you, and it's nice to see teachers from old, for sure.
Mrs. Gamage, you must have come across lots of students who are doing really well right now, who you've actually taught. How does that make you feel?
Oh, very proud, very proud, because I see them come with their kids also now. They'll come and knock on my door, Miss Gamage, I've got a baby now.
Oh, nice, nice,
Yes, a
nice.
couple like that. Yes, makes me really proud and really happy, and to see that there was a little thing that we did to make them who they are. Yeah.
That's fabulous. I mean, that's exactly what we do here. That's what we are planning on as far as the podcast series is concerned. We're speaking to teachers who've actually molded the students for a long time. Every single teacher that we've actually had at school has played a small role, even though we wouldn't realize it now, but there is a small role that they've actually played in who we are today. And just before we basically wind up, Yannika, final question for you. In terms of school, in terms of this whole alumni network that we're actually planning on having, I believe we have a really powerful alumni that we just don't necessarily realize it, right? What is the thing that actually will keep wanting you to come back to school even though you're not in school? What does this place have that you don't get it anywhere else?
I mean, I think it's a feeling of nostalgia. Those who've been here know it's hard to kind of describe it, but
Yeah.
I think we spoke a little bit earlier about how overseas is very much a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are both pros and cons of being a bubble, but I think, in my opinion, the pros really outweigh the cons.
Right.
There's such a good feeling of community here, again, between parents, students, teachers. And I think also because there are so many students from around the world, you really have to make overseas, like OSC, your home.
Right.
So I think a lot of people give to the school in a way that maybe you don't see in other places.
In other places, yeah. Julian, you played a dual role now. You were a student, now you're a parent. Everybody's talking about this great community with parents. What is that? What does it mean?
I think, I mean, community in terms of it is a small school, right? The premises might be big, you have a lot of space, but it's a small school. You don't have many children within a class. So let's say a child's parents, he or she will know most of the other parents from that grade.
Right.
And then there's a lot of community events as well. Food and fun fair, the picnic. We just had the picnic last week, I believe, on the weekend. And then sports events, plays. Like you actually get to meet a lot of the parents. And a lot of these parents are also in, let's say, the community that might move to other countries in the region, Southeast Asia or otherwise, and that are moving every 2-3 years, 4 years maybe. But you do somehow keep in touch. It's a weird sort of phenomenon that I feel many schools won't have,
Yeah.
which this school does have. Like
Yeah.
you do get to really. Kids become really close friends, parents become really close friends. You know, this person might be leaving in 2 years or 3 years. Still, you don't just say, whatever. You make the effort and you meet up after schools, in the evenings. And it's just a tight community with just genuinely friendly and like-minded people as well. So it's quite easy to have common topics, common things to discuss, common interests, common likes. So I think it's pretty easy to come together.
It's funny that we just cannot put a finger on exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's a feeling that we really can't describe it, really. I mean, this is a school that you got, kids walking in and walking out on a yearly basis. Yet, I think this is the school that really makes it a point to be in touch with them, which is different to others, I suppose. I think that's, again, it's inculcated within the system that we actually do have. Mrs. Gamage, finally, before we wind up on the show, it's been a great service that you've actually rendered as far as school is concerned. Why did you stick on for such a long time? What's making you to actually hold on to OSC?
It's those little heartbeats in my classroom. Because, give you an example, this is what makes my day perfect. We were reading, and then all of a sudden, one of my third graders come and tell me, Miss Gamage, do you know the male lion eats first before the rest of the family? He eats first. I said, is that so? So those are the moments that I love. Because for them, yes, it's a fact.
Yeah.
So
I was just hoping it was going to lead to something else. So we need to eat first.
But they'll never forget that fact.
No.
That little 1 minute thing.
Yes.
Like,
And I won't forget that. The things that they come and tell me, because every day when I walk in, it's a different story every day. And the fact that we are so resilient as an OSC community, this is why I'm here, because I am who I am today. That they request for Miss Gamage is because of OSC. Because the skills, the knowledge, all these experiences, the professional development they have spent on me, it goes back into the classroom, into their learning and into the curriculum. So that's why I'm still here.
It's fabulous, fabulous stories. Guys, thank you so much. Yannika, Julian, Ms. Gamage, thank you. Thank you so much for rekindling memories. And I'm sure there's lots that we can actually talk about. We can go on and on and on, but unfortunately we really can't, because there's a limit that we also can be baked under the sun. So we need to basically stop at that. So ladies and gentlemen, that was our episode 4 right here. Episode 5, I must say, as far as the International Teachers Day podcast series, which of course is brought to you by the Overseas School of Colombo, speaking to some past graduates, successful graduates, teachers who are there, who are here, who've actually taught almost all of us at different times, and we're speaking to them right here throughout the series. Coming up, our final episode of the series of the International Teachers Day with OSC. See you soon. you.